Hi everyone, my name is Liang Munfei, metric number 279397. Today I would like to talk about the effect of internal and external factor on credit risk. The company I choose is CelcomDigi in Malaysia. Like most companies, CelcomDigi face a common risk, that's a credit risk. Credit risk is the probability of a user unable to pay their liabilities. The research objective of this study is to determine the factor affecting internal variables towards credit risk. The second one is to determine the factor affecting external variables towards credit risk. The third one is to examine the factor affecting internal and external variables towards credit risk. The research question of this study is there any relationship between internal variables on credit risk? The second one is there any relationship between external variables on credit risk? The third one is there any relationship between internal and external variables on credit risk? What is credit risk? According to Jarrow and Turber, credit risk is the risk of loss due to changes in the credit quality of a borrower, while Edward Edmond defines credit risk as the risk of unexpected deterioration of a debtor's creditworthiness. The internal factor that I choose is average collection period, current ratio, quick ratio, return on asset, debt to income ratio, operation ratio, operating margin. While the external factor that I choose is gross domestic product, which is GDP, inflation, interest rate, and exchange rate. The raw data of this research is taken from the 5 years annual report of CelcomDigi, which is from the year 2018 to 2022. The dependent variables that I choose is average collection period, while the independent variables are the remaining variables that just now I mentioned. This is the table of descriptive statistics. Shows the mean and standard deviations of variable during 5 years. The mean is the average value of the 5 years value, while the standard deviation is the number used to tell how measurements for a group are spread out from the average. For the correlation part, I can't put the whole table inside the slide because it was too big, but I already put the most important part of the correlation and I will explain it. Inside this table, there are 3 variables are significant with the dependent variables. They are debt to income, GDP, and exchange rate. For the model summary part, the most powerful to explain is model 2 and model 3 because the adjusted R-square value is 99.9%. This study shows the adjusted R-square value 99.9% of the dependent variable is explained by the independent variable, namely exchange rate, interest rate, and GDP towards average collection period. For the coefficient part, the most significant variable is exchange rate because it has the lowest p-value of 0.025. Why exchange rate is the most significant to credit risk? In my opinion, exchange rate has currency risk. If the exchange rate moving unfavorable, this can lead to a higher repayment amounts and potentially impact their ability to repay debts. Based on this study, the influential independent variable on credit risk of CelcomDigi is influenced by the macroeconomy environment, that is GDP, interest rate, and exchange rate. And CelcomDigi has nothing to do to improve macroeconomy environment. So, in my opinion, CelcomDigi should improve in credit risk assessment. For example, strengthen the company credit risk assessment process. Besides is the risk monitoring. For example, implement a robust system for monitoring credit risk in real time. This involves tracking changes in customer financial positions, industry conditions, and other relevant factors that may impact credit risk. That's all for me. Thank you very much.